Well, if you could just start out by saying your name and some summary of your experiences.
I'm Henry Wedig. I'm sort of one of those in-betweeners that I grew up during the Second World War. I was drafted in 1951 for Korea, but deferred. I was finally taken into service in 1958 to 1960, which was the Cold War, the Berlin Corridor and that sort of thing.
Okay.
That's about it.
All right, and it says from 1951 to 58. What exactly were you doing?
51, I was in medical school.
Okay.
I was a pre-med student, and I think they realized at that point they weren't going to have a freshman medical school class, so they tentatively deferred us who were going to be in there. So that it was 1958 before I finished my medical training.
Okay.
So,
At the time you were drafted, where were you living?
Oh, I was living off campus somewhere at UC.
Okay.
I don't really remember exactly where we were living at that point.
In Cincinnati, though?
In Cincinnati,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, let's see. Where was boot camp? Where was that held?
We didn't have boot camp. By the time I finished, I was taken in as a reserve officer, and we had a 6-week indoctrination down at Fort Sam Houston, San Antonio, Texas.
Okay.
A little different from traditional boot camp.
Yeah.
But it was still indoctrination.
What all went on there?
Oh, trying to train you how to be a military officer or to survive in the military anyway, and just basic Army regulations and that type of thing.
Do you remember anything specific from that time when you were in the so-called boot camp? Or?
Yeah, indoctrination, of course. I don't remember anything. It was very exciting. No.
All right. Do you recall your first days of service after you were shipped out?
Okay, after I finished the 6 weeks at Fort Sam Houston, yes, I was sent somewhere on the East Coast. I've forgotten where it was, and took a military transport to Rhine, Maine, and Frankfurt, Germany.
Okay.
And
what sort of things did you do in Germany?
We were part of the so-called USER forces. You had field grade forces. 7th Army was there, and then the support tech forces is what we were. I was in charge of dependent medical care. I worked with a flight surgeon. We were on a small Army air base.
Okay.
So I worked with a flight surgeon who took care of the military personnel. I took care of the dependents.
So you were a medic?
Medic, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And
Okay.
we traded periodically.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Did you feel much pressure while in duty?
No, not with the kind of situation I was in.
Yeah.
I don't think there was any more pressure than we meet in normal life.
Mm-hmm. What was no biggest fears, anything like that? Did you ever fear of getting...
I think the greatest fear were my wife's fears. We were by air about 2 minutes from the Eastern Bloc border. She used to wake up at night screaming, "The Russians are coming." It wasn't my fear. It was hers.
It was hers.
So, yeah.
And what did you guys do for entertainment?
We had a theater it was a small Army air base. We had a theater there. And if you had time to leave the base, you could do most anything you wanted to do.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a whole lot of entertainment.
Yeah. What'd you miss most about being in Germany and not back home?
The food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't have the Cokes that you liked, huh?
Under the circumstances that I was there. Now, some of these guys who were there, of course, during the war have a totally different experience.
Yeah.
But when you were there between 1958 and 1960, things were relatively quiet, except for threats and murmurs in the Berlin Corridor.
Yeah.
And so Germany was a good place. It was good duty, actually.
Okay. How often were you on leave?
Oh, I think we had, what was it, 30 days a year.
Okay.
Break it up as you
Yeah.
saw fit, yeah.
You just go travel the country, or what exactly did you do?
Well, we had the opportunity, we did, yes.
Germany was pretty.
Yes, yes, we've been back a number of times
Yeah.
since, yeah.
Where all did you travel during your service?
Oh my goodness me. All of Europe we could get to, including the Eastern Bloc. We went over to Yugoslavia when it was still Yugoslavia, and drove down through the center of that, down into Greece. And they weren't accustomed to tourists in those days. And they sort of wondered what are Army guys doing driving through here. So we had their Secret Service to deal with. They were friendly, fortunately. So.
Let's see.
We covered as much of Europe as we could while we were there, of course.
Yeah. And any interesting events while on duty? Anything extraordinary or anything?
I don't know if it's extraordinary or not. One thing was disappointing to me, of course, as you all know as well as I do, the Second World War, the Holocaust, the anti-Semitism. And you tend to think that Hitler created that, and Hitler didn't create that. It was there. It was there after the war.
Yeah.
And it's still there now, I'm afraid.
Right.
So that was terribly disappointing, I thought.
I'm guessing you made a bunch of friends while you were in the service. Do you still keep in touch with them, or?
Well, there weren't a lot of friends, really.
Yeah.
We were somewhat limited, but yeah, one friend that a fellow, he was a flight surgeon that I worked with. I've seen him a couple of times
Okay. Does
since
he
then.
live around here?
Yeah, he lives out on the West Coast.
Oh, okay.
Went out there for a medical meeting and looked him up. So.
Do you recall the day your service ended?
Yes.
Yeah. Anything special? Glad to be home?
It was good to be going home. Yeah. Germany was fine, but it was good to go home.
Yeah, home's always home.
Yeah.
What did you do when you got back?
I remember driving through Ohio thinking, wow, this is flat, it's kind of pretty.
Yeah.
And I met my wife up at Lake Erie, and we spent a week on the beach. So,
that's nice.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Did you go back to work, or did you go?
Yeah, it was, I'd started practice at that time.
Okay, then you were a doctor?
Yes.
Okay, did your military experience influence any views on today's military?
I gained quite a respect for the military. I think as a medical student and all, I think initially this was sort of an interruption to my career, frankly. You didn't really want to do that. But I gained a tremendous respect for these career guys. They're a good bunch of guys.
Yeah. Let's see. Anything else you wanna add?
I don't think so.
Okay.
As I told Tom Plummer before I came over here, I don't have the kind of experiences you guys are expecting and looking for.
Any experience is experience.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yes. So, no, I don't think there's anything else.
Okay. Well, we sure do appreciate your service. And thanks for coming in.
Okay. All right. Very good.